In this video, I'm going to throw out an open challenge to all chess players out there. So I'm going to be playing players of all different rating levels, and we're going to take a look at what most chess players are doing wrong and how to make simple adjustments to correct these mistakes and improve your rating dramatically. So stick around. This video should be very instructive. All right, let the games begin. We are starting off with the 425. All right. So I'm just going to go over the moves. As I play the game, I'm going to go over every move and explain what I do and what my opponent's trying to do and what they do wrong, what they do right, to hopefully help you guys out because everyone makes similar mistakes in chess. Most chess players are making the same mistakes. There's not too many mistakes you can make in chess. Well, there's a lot of mistakes you can make in chess, but the same mistakes. There's not too many new mistakes you guys can make. You can always get creative and try to find new mistakes. I've seen it, but for the most part, everyone's doing the same thing. Okay, so I'm taking up space here in the center. My opponent should probably just take here, and I'll take back. That's one way of playing it. He could push the pawn. That might actually be best, and then we would transpose into a French defense opening. So if he knew his openings, he should spot out that d5 would transpose to the French. He plays knight c6, which is definitely playable, trying to win a pawn here. So I'm going to take. He shouldn't take this pawn. I would take this pawn, maybe. Actually, this pawn, yeah. So maybe he should just take this pawn because it's in the center. That's a more valuable pawn. And then, like he did, there you go. Maybe he's watching me. And then he could take this with the bishop. So if he takes, I'm not really concerned about dropping that pawn. I'm more concerned about development. I'm not looking for the absolute best moves. I'm not going to try to look for stunning wins here. I'm just going to try to play normal chess. So, I'm not going to try to play, with 100% accuracy or anything. Just going to try to play decent moves that everyone could follow along with and show you that you can beat most chess players just by playing basic stuff. So I'm just taking a pawn here. If he takes back, obviously, I take back with the rook, attack the bishop. He might have some, does he have, no, he has nothing there. Okay, so I take back, attack the bishop. He probably should just come back with the bishop or develop a new piece, the queen, and attack the rook. He does that. I'm just going to come back here. And I think he might have, if I move back, he might have the Greek gift. Oh, no, he doesn't, because my queen is guarding the square. If his pawn was moved and his bishop was covering g4, he would have the Greek gift. I'm going to develop and pin his knight. He should, challenge me. I would then come back and reroute my bishop to counter this bishop. So far, the 425 is playing well. Okay, h6. He's definitely watching me, I guess, right now. So what now? So queen c7 is a move. Develops the queen and threatens to win a pawn. I would play bishop g3 here. Okay, so he breaks the pin. That's a reasonable way to go. I'm going to develop my queen. Maybe take and play queen e4, threatening checkmate. Simple stuff. Let's see. I'm going to develop my rook first. So I castled and developed all my pieces. Very basic stuff. That's what I'm going to try to do here. His bishop and queen are in line with my rook. That's pretty scary for him. So I would probably move my queen out of the way. He does. That looks like a good move. Let's take the knight and play this. And then he has to play g6 to stop mate. And then I have some threats maybe. Let's see. I'll take. Okay, so he takes back. He's got the bishop pair, which is an advantage. My opponent's playing very well so far. I have he has an undefended bishop, and my rook's in line with it. So I could move my bishop away, Wherever I move it, I attack the bishop. I just don't have any good discoveries. Like, I could throw in this check. He takes my bishop. I take his bishop. Like, what's the point? A little concerned about the queen hitting the pawn and then the knight being undefended. So first I'm going to go for a checkmate. I'm going to make my threats bigger than his threats. That's one way of defending things, actively defending in chess. And he has to play g6 here. He actually could move the rook over. That's another way of... That's a more better way of defending because you're activating a piece while defending. And the point is, if I chase him around, his king will be safe. Safe-ish. Okay. What to do here? I could reroute my knight here and go for a sacrifice. That seems like a fun way to play. He'll take this pawn, which will cost him time in gaining that pawn. I'll bring my knight to f4, and we should be good. Knight f4, and okay, all right. I'm just gonna move he's attacking my queen, so I move my queen out of the way and still put pressure on this pawn. So my next move is knight f4, like I said. Maybe I'll do a sacrifice and go for mate. Interesting. So this is a weakening move. He's making too many pawn moves in front of his king. And although it looks aggressive, it's aggressive. It's just not good because I'm just going to slide my queen back, still have the same threats, but now his king is even looser. Now I could even go for sacrifices almost right away. It doesn't work quite yet, but once I get more pieces into the game, this king's going to be very weak, especially if he takes that pawn. My knight jumps right in here, and I have multiple threats. I can take this pawn, and even this pawn. So this knight move attacks 3 pawns, actually. Okay, he develops the rook, and I'm gonna guess he's gonna get mated pretty quickly. Hopefully not. Hopefully he hangs in there. But I don't know if he's gonna see this. He's 400. He's playing very well for a 400. Got to give him a lot of credit. Okay, look. Okay, so he's still... it doesn't really work. Check, check, and then checkmate. I even could take this check, but taking this pawn is better. I can even take this pawn still. Taking this pawn is better because if he doesn't take, I fork the rooks. So by taking him, forking the rooks, checking him, and if he takes, he gets mated. So how could you go wrong with that move? That has to be the best move. And he probably should bring his king in or king away. Just move his king away and then lose the exchange. And he's still surviving. But now he's not surviving because now he's getting checkmated. So what are some of the things he did right? He developed. He defended well for the most part, but he moved his pawns too far away from his king, which inevitably cost him the game. A very common mistake. Okay, I'm not going to go with the rematch here. We're going to play another new game. Okay, and now we got a 2,000. We have an expert. So look at this. We got a big player here. We got a 2,000 rated player. This should be a good game. Where is he from? I never saw that flag. Uganda. So this should be a tight game. Experts are definitely very, very strong chess players. Okay, so I'm waiting for him to develop this bishop, then I'll take the pawn. I always talk about that. I'm also looking to push here at some point. Always challenging the center. He's going to... Okay, a lot of players do this. It's not really good. It's not bad, but it's not really great. It looks better than it is. I can always chop away at the center. Okay, I'm going to develop my knight first. And I push. Takes. If he takes, I take back and threaten checkmate. Okay, so notice how his pawn echelon is going towards the queen side. Mine's going towards the king side. So I like mine better. That's why I don't like this move. One of the reasons why I don't like that move. Okay, so check. Doesn't work. All right, I'm going to castle. Oh, wow. So he's fianchettoing. He really wants to have his bishop there, though. So this is like a hole in his position. I can sink my bishop in there at some point. All right, so what to do here? Should I push? I run into these pawns. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know what? I'm going to reroute my knight, and at the same time, moving the knight gets my bishop involved in the game. And then maybe I'll leave this rook here because I'll open the rook up by playing b6. If he takes, I take back, open the rook. If not, I take and open the rook on this file. Okay. What to do here now? Do I play this? Pinning his knight. Let's see. I'll bring my knight into the game first. Again, this is a 2,000 rated player, so this is going to be a tight game, or should be. Okay. I like this move, actually. Not because I'm going to take the knight. I like to pin the knight. So the knight can't move. That's good. He can, but he'll lose the rook, the exchange. Now he can move, but I can always chop him off. And do I have any sneaky ideas yet? Not yet. Not yet. I could do this and this. No, it doesn't work yet. If I take here, let's do this. b6. If he takes, I open up the rook. If he doesn't, I take and get the b file for the rook. So that's a way of activating my rook. So anyway, if you guys like these videos, by the way, now is the time to subscribe, because subscribing does help promote the channel. And make sure you hit the alert button if you do subscribe so you don't miss further chess content. I've been playing chess for my whole life, since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I know a lot about it. I played competitively for about 15 years or more on and off. And I've been teaching chess for a few years now. Okay, so I thought this move would come. He wants to get rid of the bishop. I don't want to get rid of the bishop, so I will get rid of this bishop. This bishop's not as good because all the pawns are on dark squares, which blunts my dark square bishop, so I'll take. I'm assuming he takes back like that, weakening his king, but he's an advanced player. He's going to slide his king over to h1. He's going to slide his rook over and attack on the g file. So not a bad idea. The thing is, I can bring my knight in here and start closing in at some point. Huh. You know what? I like this move. I like more pieces. Having more pieces around your opponent's king can never be a bad idea. Okay, so he does that aforementioned move. I can throw in a check and bring my bishop back here. And that looks really good for me. I can even do it like that. No, I can't. He'll take the bishop. I'll take the rook. He'll take this. He'll be up material. So let's see. Just bring the bishop back. And if he takes, I take with check and get the rook. And just having that knight there anyway is really bad for him. This is already a tough position to play. He's 2,000, so what are the things that are indicative of 2,000? They're very, very strong chess players. Top 0.1% probably. At least top 1%. They have very sharp tactics, very good with their openings, good with strategy and positional chess, but not great at positional chess. That's why I have a better position than him. You know, so it becomes a more nuanced game at this point. Okay, so I could take. He takes, but that doesn't work. I'm just going to pile up the pressure. I'm going to bring my queen to h3, and my opponent has some issues there. Oh, he could bring the bishop back. No, he can't because I'll throw in a check. So he's in a lot of trouble, put it that way. He's probably not too happy right now. Notice how the closed position, because he played c5, we have a closed position, and I played e5, but his piece is on the other side of this pawn echelon, this pawn chain, and it kind of blocks him from attacking my king and defending his own king. So it's hard to navigate around. What you do here is when you're attacking, like I am, we don't trade pieces. That alleviates the pressure, makes it easier for him to defend. We just pile up the pressure, which is what I'm doing here. And okay, so already he is in trouble. and he has to sacrifice the queen. So, and now we have checkmate. Okay, so this game was not as much of a fight as I would have thought, but there you have it. I think, okay. So let's go on to a new game. Let's see who we get now. Now we have a 1,000 rated player. Okay. Thinking hard on the first move. Okay, he aborted. Let's go to a new game. New game. Let's do it. All right, an 800 player. We'll go with E4. I'm an E4 player. I never played D5. Looks like he's going for the Caro-Kann. So the Caro-Kann has become popular with Gotham Chess. So if you're watching this channel, you definitely have watched Gotham Chess before, I would say. Okay, I'm just going to develop. Normally they take, but that's fine, I guess. All right, I'm going to push, take some space in the center. And normally he would develop his bishop first, then push. He can push, but it blocks his bishop in. Not bad, but somewhat uncomfortable. F5 is a major weakness already. So F5, early in the game at least, is giving him a lot of weaknesses. That's not okay. So, it's hard to even exploit this because I never really see it that much. I guess I have to be patient here. I'll bring my queen here, push the pawn, hopefully. He should push this pawn now. He should definitely push this pawn. The reason why is I'm going to push the pawn eventually, and then he's in really a lot of trouble. Then I bring my knight into the game. So, 800 players doing a lot of things wrong, to be honest, but positional chess, tactics, mainly tactics is going to improve your rating. So if you work on your tactics, your rating will go up. Eventually you'll hit a wall because maybe your openings aren't sharp or your positional chess is lacking, or you don't know how to mix tactics with strategy to create better positions. But this all comes in time. Okay, he does play e6. The problem is he has a lot of weaknesses on the dark squares. So I'd like to get a knight here. That's what I'm always thinking. But I can't yet. So let's bring the bishop in and attack the queen, see what he does. He should probably play queen b6, counterattack, hit the pawn. I would play rook b1, defending the pawn. Not b3, creating more dark square weaknesses. So notice that I won't create dark square weaknesses or light square weaknesses if I can help it. But lower rated players love to make big pawn moves and create a lot of weaknesses. So he's thinking hard here, but he should probably just move the queen away. He could develop the knight. So, but if I miss something, or if you think I missed something, let me know in the comments below. Or if you have a question, always let me know in the comments below. I answer every single comment. I have never missed a comment so far. So please comment. I will answer you. I like to give tips, help out, answer questions. Chess can be confusing sometimes. I try to make it as less confusing as possible. I'm playing queen d2 to create a battery. So notice because the dark squares are weak, I start controlling the dark squares as much as possible. Okay, so pushing here, it seems okay. If I go back here, my bishop's going to get trapped, but I might have some... No, I don't. I will just bring my bishop back here. So it looks like he can start rolling pawns here, try to trap my bishop. You might be thinking that. The problem is it just creates a lot of weaknesses. His king's still in the center, and that's very optimistic idea. And now he's pushing pawns on the queen side. So now he has no king safety. So pushing your pawns on one side is one thing, but at least he could have went queen side. But now he can't go king side or queen side. So this is a tough position for him to play. In fact, I can sack and get my knight to this nice square. And my bishop is like so useless here. Like I'm actually really debating doing that, getting 2 pawns for the bishop. That's kind of weak because all the pawns are on light squares. So that's how you define what your good bishop is, what your bad bishop is. It's all dependent on the pawns. So if I take, he takes back, I take with the knight, I'll get my knight into here. He can't stop that. And then that knight's a beast, and it's a beast. What can you say? So let's do that. Let's do it. Let's have a little bit of fun here. My opponent was going to take. It's probably not a super sound sacrifice, but it's decent. It gives me. I'm just looking at logical things that make sense and give me compensation. So I get 2 pawns for the piece. That's one level of compensation, and then I get my knight to an excellent square. That's another level of compensation there. So you might hear the words compensation thrown around in chess. So that's just basically what it means. You're giving up something where you're getting something in return. You're being compensated. Okay, that was a waste of a move to attack my knight because my knight wanted to jump here anyway. And now his king is on f8. So if my queen was here, that would be checkmate. Something to think about. And you might want to rush forward here and do something because you just gave away a piece. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to castle and let the game unfold naturally. He should be challenging my knight, so he should develop his bishop somewhere and then challenge my knight. That would be a pretty decent idea. The problem is he can't play bishop b7 because my knight would take, so that's not good. And if he rolls the pawns forward, that's not good. So he has no king safety. I have a great knight. I have 2 pawns for the piece. So I definitely think I have compensation here. Okay. Don't really understand that. Let's see. I'll get my rook into the game. So now if I push and he takes, my rook's behind that pawn. And I'm going to start attacking. And this game is something that's going to... So that's not really a good idea. Not a bad idea, but he wants to get rid of this knight. That's what his main concern should be, trying to get rid of this knight. He's not doing that. I'm going to try to open up this game, exploit his weak king, and go for mate. If I take, he takes with the knight. I could push again and just really have a super solid knight here. I'm going to do that, actually. So now my knight, even if he does take my knight now I'll have a passed pawn here. He attacks my rook. I'll move it away. And now what I want to do is, because he has weak squares, my knight's great. I want to get this knight on a great spot. So I'm trying to look for ways to get this knight to a really good spot, like maybe here. So you just want to basically how you maneuver knights, and if you want to master a piece, master the knights, because every other piece is kind of easy to master. The knight is the trickiest. So if you master the knight, your rating is going to definitely improve. So how do I get my knight? How do you improve a knight? How do you see where you want to put your knight? You just pretty much put it on a square where ideal square you would want it. Which is over here, anchored by a pawn on the 6th rank. And then you work backwards and say, how would I get my knight there? So I'd have to get my knight to this square to get to this square. So then I would have to go like this. So basically I have to get my knight to that square first, which is not easy. Definitely not easy, but I'm going to do it like that. Yeah, he can take my knight, but don't see what else, any other way to do it. Actually, yeah. So like this, that would be my path for the knight. And then that would just be positional nightmare for him. I could be down a piece, 2 pieces, and it would still be a tough position to play. Okay, he's attacking this pawn. I'm not sure if I'm too concerned about that. If I push, he takes. I could chop this off and give up another bit of material here. And I'm not sure, though. Maybe I'll just play that. So again, I'm not rushing forward. I'm not doing anything too aggressive, just letting the game unfold. And I just have plans to eventually pile up. He's going to put his knight there. That looks good. I'll defend that. So he was going to come here and fork my rook and queen. So now my rook's out of the way. It's not being forked. If he comes back here, I can just slide my queen away. No big deal. All right. Now he's threatening to get this. So I could do two things. I could let him take and get a passed pawn, or I can chop the bishop off. I'm going to go ahead and chop the bishop off. So you might be saying, why did I give up my good knight there? Well, I got a pawn for it. So having a good piece on a good square in itself is good, but it also could end up in you winning material, like cashing in, so to speak. So I cashed in. I used my good piece to cash in. That's why it's a good piece. All right, now he just got forked. That's a tactical error, and I got my material back because I had a better position, and my opponent is weaker. So he missed a tactic there, basic tactic. He's got to move his queen away now. He'll lose his knight. Not only that, but this pawn is dangerous. Well, he's going to take the pawn. Oh, he cannot take the rook because I have that. If you were looking at that, I should have mentioned that. So I'm going to double up here. And this position is really bad for him. So notice how his pawns are pushed past the 7th rank, and none of mine are over here on the king side. The pawns that are pushed are in the center, so those are the pawns you should push. Sometimes you push a pawn on the flank, one square, to stop your opponent from encroaching on you. But you really want to limit your pawn moves, especially in the opening. So what are my ideas here? I'm going to probably go for triple up on this file. And when you have a rook, a queen, and a rook, that's called Alyakin's gun. Alyakin was a grandmaster, I think back in the 1800s. Maybe early 1900s. And it's named after him. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. Looks like a good idea. Now, the best part of his game is this knight. That knight is very good. So one of my ideas would be try to challenge that knight, maybe by going like this and here. So again, slow moves, but this is why if you master the knight, your rating will improve for sure, because a lot of positions in chess you don't know what to do. It's not obvious, and a lot of times it's because you have to make these like strange knight maneuvers to better your position. So. Moving the rook is pretty obvious. You want to put in an open file. You want to double the rooks up. The bishop's on goes diagonal. It's pretty straightforward. And the queen is like the rook and bishop combined. The knight's the only weird piece in chess. The best piece, in my opinion. Okay, so my opponent's running a little low on time here. It's another issue. And his rook is horrible here. I don't know what he should be. Okay, he's trying to go for this pawn. Not a bad idea. But I could just check, take, check, take. It's one way of doing it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I got the pawns on him. I could take this pawn. Let him take. It's another way to go. So if I take, he takes, I take. I don't really want to make this game double-edged, though. So you know what? I'm going to do... I have a trick. If he takes, I throw in this check, tactics. And then if he takes, I take the queen. So I'm actually defending this pawn indirectly through tactics, and that's another reason why this Alyakin's gun setup is so powerful. It's just very powerful. You have a lot of tactics with it. So now I'm going to throw in this check. And if he takes, I take his queen. And if he didn't take, I would have taken his rook. And then put him in a bad spot. Okay, so I'm up a lot of material, so I'm just going to trade down here. and move my king up out of the back rank. And he still has this great knight. But, you know, I have too much material now, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I still always am looking to how to undermine my opponent's best pieces. That's a bad move. He got rid of his best piece for one of my pieces that wasn't doing anything. There's no real follow-up to it. Plus, my pawns are strong now, these central pawns. I can push this at some point. Not now. He's attacking it. Let's see. What is a good move here? What is a good move here? How about just attacking this pawn? He's got to defend it. And then I can move my knight back to this nice square. I could do a lot of things here. So that's the luxury of having a good position. I could play that. Now let's move the knight into the game. So he really can't do anything. Yeah, he can move his bishop back and forth. This knight defends that pawn. And I'm going to bring my knight to d6. If he takes, I take back. And or I actually take back with the pawn because now that pawn's passed. So, and I'm guarding the queening square, which is something you should always keep in mind if you're guarding the queening square or not. Let's see. Let's just go further into the position. Go closer to his king. I can do this check now, and then bring my knight to even better square. And he's in a lot of trouble here. So we both have two minor pieces. I have a queen, he has a rook, so I have a big advantage there. Plus I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm up a lot of material. Let's see. I don't understand that move. It just puts his rook behind a pawn that's not going anywhere. So I'm going to throw in this check. There we go. Now my knight's on a really good square. And okay, this is actually, it's not tough. It's not a tough position by any means, but he's putting up a fight here. So now I'm going to attack this bishop, and I'm also threatening to, I'm cutting the rook off. I'm threatening to come in here with my queen now, and then take this bishop if he somehow defends. I don't even see how he can defend this, though. So, yeah, he can't even defend that bishop. He has to, oh, maybe he can move it, I guess. But I don't, no, he actually can't because I'm covering. Oh, he has to take here. That's his move. But then I get my queen in here, and, you know, it's very scary. For him, it's not scary for me. So I'm going to try to mate him before he runs out on time. So what are the things he did bad here? He moved too many pawns around his king and his queen side. So he has really no king safety because of that. What do we have here? Do we have something good? Check. He comes here. I'll just take that pawn. Now this is a pass pawn. So there's no need to rush in and do something. Haste. I'm just going to slowly try to surround the king and go for mate. If he comes up here, I'll block that escape square with my pawn and then circle my queen around, go for checkmate. Not many things he can do here. Okay. All right. He's trying to hold on, though. He's trying to hold on. I'll give him that. He did play well overall. He just, he made the mistakes you would think, an 800 player would make. He's going for that pawn, but, this is checkmate. So, yeah, there's no way to stop this. The rook can slide over, but then I would take the rook. All right, we have a 9-7-1. 900 rated player. Let's see what he does. We have the Sicilian defense. I go at f6. He can't push because I throw in a check and take. Knight c6. These are all the best moves, actually. So far, we're both playing the best moves. Okay, you can take. That's fine. Knight b5 is probably the best, but taking is absolutely fine in this position. I'm trying to think, what do I do here? Do I come here? Oh no, he'll damage my pawns. Do I come here actually? What do I do here? Oh, I come here. So he pins me, I pin him. This is a very counter-attacking, sharp opening. So if he takes, I would just take back, obviously. If he pushes, I take, I believe, and then push here. Okay, he does neither of the two, and what do I do here? I'm trying to figure it out. If I come here now, he takes, I take. I usually do play that. I like that, actually. It does damage my pawns, but my king actually has a nice home in here. Or I could still castle and slide my king over to h8. And that's actually, I'm actually safer than you'd think. If he plays that, that's a blunder because his bishop's under attack. I wouldn't take the bishop and lose my bishop. I would take the knight first with check after he takes back. Then I take the bishop. I'm winning. I won many games like this. All right, good. He's playing so far so well. And I think players are getting better in general because 900s would not even be putting up this much of a fight, I think, 10 years ago. So I think with the advent of chess.com and all these YouTube channels with chess and everything and computers, engines, I think the ratings are definitely, it's easier and harder to get better at chess. It's easier to get better at chess, but you can argue that it's more competitive. All right, he's developing his queen. Usually a good idea. So I don't know if I want to put my king here because his queen and bishop are scary. So I'm going to just put my king in this nice little house. And it's in the center of my king, but it's safe around these pawns. So a lot of times you find your king safety by finding a castle, finding a fortress. You know, the fortress is your pawns. I also have this G file for my rook, which is very good. So do I push it here or do I push like that? This bishop's bad, so I'll trade the bad bishop for the good bishop. I'll slide this rook over here, and we'll get this party started. All right, what do I do here? Do I come back? Am I gonna get caught? If I come back here, he does this. I think I am in trouble if he does that. I take, and we have like, all right, well, you know what? We'll play an endgame position. We'll play like a slow queenless middle game into an endgame because that will be instructive. We haven't played one of those yet, so let's do that. Probably best was to keep the bishop pair. Especially since I have an open G file, that'd be a very dynamic attacking game. But he might play a really bad blunder, and that might lose. You know, it might kind of ruin this game. And I want this to be as instructive as possible. So this is definitely a legit way to play. I almost took this with my queen by accident. There you go. So I'll trade the bishops, and his pawns are okay now. All right, so we don't have a queenless endgame or middle game. I'm going to put my rook here. I'm going to double up the rooks and push the pawn. And then with the pawn on the H file, the two rooks and the queen, I should have a pretty strong attack in theory. So I don't want, normally we also want to challenge the center, but not now. Not that my king's over here. Notice that my king position changes a lot of the strategy of chess. It's all context. So if I push the pawn, yeah, I'm playing in the center, which is normally good, but I'm actually pushing pawns in front of my king. So that supersedes the disadvantage of weakening your king trumps the playing in the center, the positive side of playing in the center. I could go for a queen trade, threatening checkmate, forcing him to go for a queen trade if I really want to go into this. But I'm not sure. A part of me now I want to kind of play this out in the middle game with the queens on the board. But I don't want to take too much time thinking about moves and boring you guys. I want to give you guys my analysis of what I'm thinking of, but also I want to try to play, more moves. See, try to keep the game going forward and not stress too much on a single move, because I don't think that's super instructive in this case. At this level, at least. Maybe at the higher levels, sure, definitely. But not at this level. We don't need to go that deep into stuff. I just want to show you how to play basic chess, and how to beat 90% of players or even more just by playing basic chess. So, all right. So that's he's going for the queen trade now. But now, do I want to really trade queens? I'm gonna go here. If he pushes this pawn, he drops that. If he pushes this pawn, his dark squares are weak. I throw in a check, move my rook over, and I'm starting to kind of take over the game here. So I like my position. His position's fine. Okay, so that does weaken this diagonal. I throw in the check. Players at this rating are definitely not thinking about weak diagonals, weak squares, things like that. They see the positives in their moves, like he attacks my queen, he takes more space, but he doesn't see the negatives of the move. So they're very optimistic. The better you get at chess, the more pessimistic you get. Just like sometimes the older you get in life, the more pessimistic you get. Sometimes. Because the more experience you have, the more you see how things can go wrong. Oh, that's a nice move. If I take, let's say, do I sack the queen? No, definitely not. Do I sack the rook? No, definitely not. Or do I? Check. He has to come here. No, it's not good. What do I do? I can avoid the queen trade. All right, we'll go into, listen, it's fate. I said we'll go into a queenless middle game / end game. And what happened? I tried to deviate from that plan, and then we got to it anyway. So there you have it. If I double up here, you can simply block. I really want to own this file. The problem is he could actually take it over. All right, that's not really doing much. I'm going to double up on this file. He should be contesting this file right away. This is the game right here. This is everything. Okay. If he takes, I take over the file, so I'm not concerned about it. Whoever takes here, it's a mistake. To take sometimes is a mistake. This is clearly the case right here. So whoever takes forfeits the file, so you don't want to do that. What you want to do, though, is you don't want to have a standoff the whole game. So that's why I pushed my pawn here on a4. Oh, wow, he's a genius. I was going to put my rook here and then double up that way. And if he takes, I have a passed pawn. But he did the same thing. However, it doesn't really work in his case because now after I take, I'm the one with the passed pawn. He doesn't have a passed pawn. Yeah, he can make a passed pawn. Like so. Do I take this and push, or do I just get behind that and really put him in an awkward spot here? So that's the question. If I come here, he has to come there. And then I can push, take, he takes, and then I attack the pawns. Or if I come here, push his rook all into the corner, bring my king in. I kind of like this idea. So I'm just extending his defenses. I'm spreading his defenses as far as I can. He's eventually going to have to stop this pawn by putting his rook all the way in the corner. If he creates a passed pawn, my king is nicely placed to intercept that. So that's good. I actually should play that move, I think. Oh, actually, he can push and get it. No, he can't because his rook cannot get involved in the game. So first I'll do that. He has to come here. And now I will play that move. So stopping his pawn from coming in, stopping his king from getting closer. That's a good move, I think. If I take, he takes. If he takes, I take. All right, so I'll improve my rook, and now I'm attacking his pawn. Now he should defend that pawn, obviously. I can take and push. So if I take, he takes back. I push, he pushes, takes. I'm going to get this pawn. So I like this move. So now I push. If he pushes, I take. He has a passed pawn. The problem is he can't hold on to that passed pawn. So the rook end games come down to activity. I have an active rook. He does not have an active rook. Therefore, my position's better. He does have this going on here. Very interesting. Very tough game, actually. So I'm going to get that pawn. This pawn. He's going to get this pawn eventually. And I'm going to be up a pawn. So because my rook was more active, I was able to cash in and win a pawn here. Not sure what he's thinking about too much. He can either take and I take, or he can queen, I take, and he takes. And then I'm up a pawn, which could definitely be a drawish game here. So the 900 is giving me the best game. Better game than the 2000. So what's the lesson? Do not go above 900 in chess, obviously. Because you could get worse somehow. So this is not easy, even though I'm up a pawn. And I think I'll win this game. It's not so easy. Rook end games are often drawn. He should just be creating a fort. He has a fortress already, pretty much. He should just be moving his rook around, not moving his pawns, not moving his king, keeping this intact, and just going for rook moves, just wasting moves, basically. I'm going to eventually push and get my pawns in the center of the game. So here we go. Oh, wait a sec. I push. He's got that move. I got this move. Okay. So patience is definitely going to play a factor in this. This is going to require a lot of patience. This is where you're squeezing water out of a stone. All right. I'm going to push. If he takes, I don't take back and lose my pawn. I take his rook. And if he doesn't take, which he can't take, I could just push, check, or I could take. He can't take with the pawn because he'll be in check, so he has to take with the king. And I don't really see a good follow-up. So I have a pass pawn now. That's really good. So now not only am I up a pawn, but the pawn that I'm up is passed, which, did I mention, is really good. Now I'm going to cut his king out of the game. He actually should come forward, but then because if he comes back, then he's a sitting duck. He can't get his king back in the game. I'll leave my rook on this second rank like a force field and never let his king in. It's actually called a bridge if you're like a formal studied read chess player, if you read books or whatever. But I like to call it a force field because it sounds a lot cooler. All right, he's bringing his king in. Not bad. But I'm going to have to push that past pawn, I think. So he has to come back, intercept the pawn. I could just do that. He can't build up on this because my king's here. His king cannot, obviously he'll be going into check either way. So he can't really, the only way he can build up on this pawn is by coming like that, which is far too slow. Far too slow. Can't do it. All right, now he's got to, I don't know what he's got to do here. So I could push. I'll go to this side of the board. So if I push, then his king can get into the game. So now I'm cutting off his king first. Now when I push and he tries to come back here, I put the rook here. GG. Oh, he's good. He's good. He's a good player. So he's going to come here. Now if I do that, he takes the pawn. He can push here. All right. This is going to be a grind. This is going to be a grind for sure. Do I swing my king around? Is that how I'm gonna do this? It's risky though. If I come here and take, I'm gonna have to do that. I think I'm gonna have to move my king around, undermine that rook. The thing is, So this is where counting comes into play. This is like a little tip I have, and I have a video on this, how to calculate. And when you're in these double-edged positions in the end game, where you're trying to do something, your opponent's trying to do something, and you're seeing who's going to come quicker, you just count your moves first, not simultaneously. Like I go here, he goes here, I go here, he goes here. It's too hard for your brain to do that, to juggle both moves. So I just take my moves first. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can get those 4 moves in, his rook has to move, I win the game. For him to get this pawn, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then he's got to move out of the way and push these pawns. It's far too slow. I don't have to even... I ignore this. I don't bring his king closer to me. I go on with my plan. If he takes, I simply take. He attacks the rook. What a good move. So I'll just come back here for now. Now he can pile up on that pawn. Very good. Now he's going to pile up on this pawn. And after the takes, I come here, game over. So I hope he takes, because that's game over. So he really fought well, but it's unfortunate because chess is really hard. And if you're playing against an experienced player, you know, there's so many ways to win and everything. So this goes into king and pawn now. I have a video on this too, king and pawn, how to win. You want to get opposition. So if he comes here, this actually just plays into, he doesn't go there, which is good because that would give me opposition. So this guy has been watching my videos. Good for him. Now, you always keep your king in front of the pawn in king and pawn game. Now I go for opposition. So your kings are facing each other, but it's their move. That's what king opposition is. And now I guard the queening square. And now the red carpet is laid out, so to speak, from my pawn to queen. So the red carpet is laid out for the queen. And game over. My opponent played excellent. Please give him a round of applause. And if I missed anything in this game, please comment in there. If you saw anything on his side or my side, definitely it's something to look at. Okay. All right, we're going to do one more game, and then we are going to call it quits for the night. So I'm playing at 1800. Good way to end the video. So a strong player. This is the Sicilian defense, by the way. Probably the dragon he's going to play, I would think, but I'm not a mind reader. So he doesn't play the dragon, no. I'm going to castle here. He brings his bishop in, very good. So he's developing. And setting up discoveries, so I move my bishop out of the way. Normally they play b5 here, at some point b4. Bring the bishop here. It's a tough position to play against. Very, very tough spot. I have a couple of tricks here, though. Hopefully he lets me do them. But I doubt he will. He's 1800. Okay, I bring my queen in, my rook's in, push, and we'll see how the game goes. So I'm always concerned with development. You'll see I don't really start attacking or formulating a plan even until I start developing. I don't even really think of it. Unless, of course, your opponent plays something really crazy, then you do what you got to do. But for the most part, I just develop, castle, then I start my plan. Okay, he's getting the bishop pair here. That's a good move. So what am I going to do? Play f4, f5. That's my plan. I could take with the knight or take with the pawn. I'm going to leave my knight on this good square, so I'll take with the pawn. These are not bad double pawns. The pawns are close together. They're good. And again, my plan is to play f5. Okay. All right, so he played e5, which makes... He's attacking my knight, so I can't play f5 yet. I could jump in here with f5. And if he takes, I take back. I want to get rid of... This is a big hole in the position now, so if I can get rid of this knight, that's also a good idea. So let's come here first. If he takes... He gets rid of his light square bishop, which really weakens these light squares even more. They're already weak, but the light square bishop would have compensated for it. So again, the 1800 player, they're sharp tactically, very good players, but positional chess is where you need to work on if you're 1800. You're already a very advanced chess player. Just got to work on positional chess. And now I'm going to push my pawn. I'm going to do something that you think I wouldn't. Oh, actually, wait, maybe I can just. So I want to get rid of the knight. I was thinking about pushing the pawns. Even though I don't usually do that, I talk against that, pushing pawns in front of your king. It might work here because his light squares are so weak. But I don't want to confuse you guys, so I might just trade off bishop for knight because that would take advantage of these weak squares all the same without weakening my king. Although it really wouldn't be weakening my king in this position because my pawns are so strong. But again, I don't want to confuse you guys. We'll just play basic chess. That's a lesson for another day when you guys are, really strong from watching these videos, and then we can go in from there. But here I just want to chop off the knight and get this knight into an excellent square. And this is a really tough position. Yeah, he can take this pawn, but I'm really not concerned about things like that right now. Okay, he's throwing it a check first. Improving his queen, I guess. But if he takes this, I can come here, trap the bishop. And if he takes the pawn, I get his bishop, it looks like. So that's a blunder, I think, because I'm attacking his bishop. So his bishop's stuck. And if he takes, I move the rook over and pin his bishop to the... Oh, no, because the knight would be hanging. The low-hanging fruit of the knight. And my knight is really good. I want to keep it there. So do I come forward like that? Then he has this move. I feel like I should have something here. But maybe I don't. Let's come here first. Now I can make that move. And that would be really tough for him to deal with. So he can't play that either. So just playing this is just, I think this is a lost game at this point. And again, the reason why it's so lost is because of the light square weaknesses he gave me, and then getting rid of his light square bishop, which accentuated those weaknesses. So in fact, I can just jump in here with my knight, check, and then bring my rook in. And this is really tough to deal with. I could throw in a check. Probably shouldn't even take there, but if I throw in a check, he moves out of the way, bring my rook in. He has to move his queen out of the way somewhere. Then I bring this in. I throw checks in, checks. This is really tough. But his bishop is still hard to contend with. That's the piece that I'm trying to contend with here. Okay, so I'll throw in this check first. Let's see where his knight, his king goes. I have to throw in this rook move, and I should be... Well, okay, he takes, actually. That's how powerful the knight is, so it's definitely a powerful knight. I'll come in there, attack the rook, and really not an easy position to play at this point. So I'm going to take the queen, and this pawn drops, and then I have that check, which looks like it possibly could win the game on the spot, or I could do that, which also, this move also looks like it wins the game on the spot. Now we have to really crunch down numbers here. If I take, could he stop anything? Maybe by playing like that, letting me take. I honestly don't know what's best here. Do I take, or do I just play rook c? Rook c1 might be just a game, just kills the game on the spot. I would take, I'll be up a whole rook. I want to so badly just take the pawn, but I think that's just best. He can't defend this and this. If he does, he loses the bishop. If he moves the bishop out of the way, that's really bad because he has to quit playing chess forever because that's such a bad move. But I think he's in a tough spot here. So 1800s, they're good tactically, but again, positional chess is where you have to work on things. If you're already this advanced of a player, that's what you have to do. Now I'm up a whole rook. That's not a good move because now his pawn's gone. His pawn's overextended. He actually should have pushed that pawn first and started. That would be tough to deal with. All right, there you have it. Guys, hope you found this video entertaining. If you did, please make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share the video. I'll catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.